until everybody gets in here. Okay, I'm moving this stuff out of the way so we can see and get started. I got my notes pulled up, but I hope all is well today. The live topic is going to be about eating the rainbow plate and understanding how this helps you be able to balance your blood sugar and as well gain back your hormonal balance and aiding in your hormonal health specifically. So, for today, we are going to be. I feel like it looks so dark. I wonder if it's because my window was open. Okay, there we go. Because I'm like, it was. I guess it was just catching the window's light more than my light, and it was making me look like it was very dull and dark in here. But anywho, oh, now this little piece of hair. But so we're gonna be talking about that balance between your blood sugar and your hormones. So what I want everybody to grasp the concept of first is understanding how powerful truly it is for you to understand what eating a rainbow plate looks like and understanding how you are able to eat a rainbow plate and gaining that knowledge of what it can do to transform your health, balance your blood sugar, and support your systems overall so that you are, if you're dealing with prediabetes or diabetes symptoms, it can be tailored and optimized to your lifestyle, but it also tailors to what you need when it comes to your healing process, okay? So, if you are new here in the chat and you do not know who I am, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I'm here to support you in understanding exactly what you need to do for yourself when it comes to your health, when it comes to you balancing your hormones, and truly overall understanding how your body is a healing vessel. And majority of society is not healing their body, but instead just sitting here using momentary band-aids in order for them to find their healing. So you're using things like prescriptions, you're doing surgeries, you're sitting here taking a bunch of medications and other things trying to get the health and achieve the health that you want, all for with momentary band-aids. And that's not going to work for you, because if you want to fully heal, you have to understand how you've gotten here. You have to get to the root cause of the issue, which allows you then to step forward and move along with the process of actually gaining that healing with food and knowing how to use food as your medicine. So before we jump in, let me ask you this question. Have you ever felt like you were tired after you were eating? Did you feel sluggish? Do you feel that energy crash when you eat? Do you feel like you have unexplained cravings and they're intense, or unexplained weight gain that you can't pinpoint exactly why your weight is fluctuating, but you know that you're gaining weight? This could all be a sign that your blood sugar is out of balance. These signs are too ignored by our society, and this is the reason why we're dealing with a society that does not understand insulin resistance. They don't understand spiking blood sugar, and they don't even realize when they're in a pre-diabetic state. So, I got all this oil above my lip. It looks like it's shining, but so you have to understand that when you are not eating real foods, real whole foods, you're throwing off your balance. So real foods, gaining that nutrients from actual food, is the answer to your problems. That is the solution that you are looking for. But we have to understand how we have gotten into a space of blocking our healing, spiking our blood sugar, and developing insulin resistance first in order for us to really grasp the full concept of how we get to the space of healing, right? So the first thing that we have to address is, okay, so what's happening inside of our body when we're sitting here eating processed foods, when we're sitting here consuming refined sugars, and we are spiking our blood sugar every single time that we eat, every single day, and we're causing a spike that is going to lead other issues, or not lead to, but it's going to cause other issues inside the body later on, if not immediately. So insulin's job is for you to help move sugar into your cells so that they can have energy. This is how you use sugar to convert into energy, right? But when your cells stop responding to sugar because you have an overload, your processes are working too hard to balance your blood sugar and try to expel all the toxic sugars, it cannot convert any of that sugar into energy because it's overexerting trying to heal the other issues that you have going on. So when you are constantly eating foods that have a high glycemic index, when they're sitting there dealing with the overload of insulin from the foods that you consume, this is how you lead yourself to having insulin resistance that you don't know how to heal. And you don't see this warning signs that your body's telling you that you're not healing and you're not helping me with the foods that you're eating, right? So when you sit here and you're like, okay, well, how do I stop this? Or how do I develop insulin resistance at all in general? Eating highly processed sugar. So when you're sitting here eating white sugar, brown sugar, consuming molasses, you're eating maple syrup. You're eating pancake syrup instead of consuming maple syrup. These processed foods, like you eating this white bread with all these additives and fillers, you eating soda, your pastries, you sitting here drinking all these different sugary juices. These are how you spike your blood sugar. These are processed sugars that you do not need to consume, yet you are. Even the ones that the Cokes and the sodas that say that they are 0% sugar, they still have a sweetener inside of it. It's just an artificial sweetener. So they're allowed to say that it's no added sugar. The second thing that causes your insulin resistance to develop and to spike itself and to cause or wreak havoc on your body, blood sugar spikes, and they're rapidly happening, constantly happening, because this promotes the pancreas to release more insulin, because your pancreas is trying to overcompensate for all the crap that you have when it comes to these toxic processed sugars. So it's overcompensating, which means it's overworking. And so then during this time of your blood sugar spikes, this means that you are promoting yourself to go into insulin resistance, because your pancreas is sitting here trying to produce more insulin, all while trying to release this insulin, all at the same time. Over time, like I said, your cells become resistant to insulin because it's no longer converting it into energy, but rather trying to expel and replace with natural insulin that comes from the body, right? And this requires more insulin, and replace with natural insulin that comes from the body, right? And this requires more insulin, which is more of a job for your body to have to do. This is going to lead you to having high blood sugar levels. This is going to lead you to having fat storage, because then now your liver, because this is how you develop fatty liver disease, right? Your liver is no longer filtering, it's no longer helping you. So then it has to store the sugar to get it to not go to anything vital in the beginning. And so then this is going to require eventually, or not require, but this is going to cause eventually you to having prediabetes symptoms, which all of these are signs that you are in a pre-diabetic state, and then eventually leading yourself to having type 2 diabetes. So why in the world would you sit here and lead yourself down a path of having prediabetes and diabetes if you know how to prevent it? Because it all starts with the foods that you eat, right? Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you, thank you. I don't know what's going on with my live today. On my end, it's kind of wonky, but obviously it's working. So, when you sit here and you think about the standard American diet, which when you look at the acronym, it's the S.A.D diet. Literally, standard American diet is S.A.D, which is sad. So our diet is sad. And so we believe that, because a food pyramid, a My Plate has been made, and it's made by officials, this is how we regulate our body, because they're the ones who are backed by doctors. They're the ones who promote our health. They're the ones that are supposed to be supporting us so that we are a healthy society, right? But they're the same people that put these additives and fillers in your food. They're the same people that allow them to put a combination of unhealthy fats, an overload of sugar, and an overload of salt inside of your food to make you literally addicted to food. They allow companies to do this. That's the reason why they have study groups when they have new products come onto the market. They do marketing research. They do addiction research, because it really is just addiction research, to see how it stimulates your brain, how it stimulates your dopamine, makes you crave it more, makes you want to eat it more. And so they do a combination of trying out different additives and fillers, salt, unhealthy sugars, unhealthy fats, put them together and go, ooh, this is it. And then they put it on the market, you eat it, and now you're addicted to it. Now you can't stop craving it. Every time you see the box, you're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, this tastes so good. I love the sugar in it. Oh, do you know these cookies have this in it? Oh, it has a filling in it. You're not actually addicted to the product itself, but the combination of things that make your dopamine stimulated, that makes you eat it more. That's the reason why you sit there in front of the TV. You can eat a whole roll of Oreos and not realize you've eaten a whole roll of Oreos until it starts to make you sick. Or you look at it and be like, oh, I need to put these away, but you don't want to put them away. Forgot to put my earrings in, y'all. So the key factor to you sitting here to really release the issue that you have going on is to understand the power of eating a rainbow, and really breaking down how you should be eating a rainbow and how it affects your body. Because if you don't know how to eat a rainbow plate, and you are sitting here like, okay, well, I would love to be able to eat a rainbow plate and understand how to balance my blood sugar levels and really gain that stability, but I don't know where to start. Focus on first finding replacements. So you need to cut out the terrible toxic processed foods, terrible meats, terrible dairy that you are consuming right now. And if you don't know how terrible and toxic they are, check out all my past stuff on YouTube. I break that down. And so once you come to the realization of, yeah, this stuff is poisoning me, it's making me inflammatory and I'm not okay with it, what do I do? Look at the ingredients. If you cannot read an ingredients list and break down the ingredients on there to say, oh, this is a filler, this is an additive, oh, that's just an unnecessary toxin, oh, that's derived from black mold. If you cannot look at a label and literally break down each aspect of the label, you do not know how to read your labels. Reading the calories is not cutting it. You need to know what the ingredients mean. And if you don't know what they mean, I have an $11 ebook that breaks it down. So there's absolutely no reason for you to not know how to read your labels and understand what these toxic, terrible chemicals are. And so once you learn how to break those down, you'll realize, okay, I can find replacements that don't have a bookload of ingredients, that doesn't have all these toxic additives and fillers, that doesn't have all this inflammatory, unhealthy fats and unhealthy sugars and unhealthy salts. But you have to become aware first for you to start replacing, because if you don't know anything about how terrible toxic these ingredients are, you're going to pick up anything that says healthy. You're going to pick up a Fiber One bar. You're going to pick up anything that says vegan on it. And this is going to defeat the purpose of your health journey, because you're not going to be healthy with these snacks, with these things that you're going to eat. Because you still should be able to buy snacks so that you have something when you're craving snacks, something that you can fill your body with, that you're not poisoning yourself with, but feeds a craving and also still supports your body in that process. But when you don't know how to do that, all you do is focus on filling. All you do is focus on eating something. And that's the problem. We focus on how can I fill and feed the craving, but we don't focus on fueling our body, supporting our body through the process, through that time of us being hungry. So when you are really focusing on eating a rainbow plate, you're going to get all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals that you need, because when you're eating the colors of the rainbow, this supports you in every aspect. Because there's a reason why there's literally, when you go to the produce section, why it's a variety of colors, why it mimics the rainbow. Because this vegetation that comes from the earth is showing you this is everything that you need and everything that's provided, because all you need to do is hit every aspect of every color, and you won't have to worry about counting calories. You won't have to worry about, oh, this is vitamin A, this is vitamin C, that's vitamin D. But when you're not getting that, when you don't understand the power of eating a rainbow plate, yeah, you're going to sit there and count calories. You're going to sit there and be like, well, I need vitamin A and vitamin C. Let me sit here and try to figure out what has vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D. Oh, I need B12, so let me focus on that. Then you start to think about supplements, supplementing things in when you don't have to do that, nor do you need to be doing that. Thank you for the likes, guys. I really appreciate it. Because when you are getting all of the phytonutrients that come from plant-based foods, they play a role in not only healing your body, but gaining back the balance that you've been looking for and that you need. And so when you sit there and you think, okay, red foods, for instance, red foods are going to help your blood circulation. They're going to help your heart. So you need to focus on red foods, because that overall, and that's just little key factor benefits. That's not even the whole total benefits that you get from red foods, but that's understanding how it works when you get it all the nutrients that you need by eating a rainbow plate. So when you're eating orange foods, you think about eye health. We think about our immune system. That's what you should be thinking. Your eye health and your immune system when you're eating orange foods. You should be thinking about, when you're getting yellow foods, anti-inflammatory. You should be thinking digestion. All of these are going to support you in gaining the nutrients that you need. When you eat your greens like you should be, but majority of society is not, you're going to get fiber, you're going to be detoxifying, and you're going to be balancing your hormones with your greens. So this is why it's so important for you to eat your greens, and why so many women are dealing with hormonal imbalances when it comes to their menstrual cycle, because we don't eat enough greens, and when we do eat them, we eat them at the wrong time of the month. If you do not know how to eat according to your cycle, I can guarantee you your cycle is thrown off in some way, shape, or form, because you should be eating greens at a specific time of your cycle in order to support your body during the specific time that it needs greens, so that it helps your body through that hormonal imbalance, because your body goes through hormonal fluctuations. It goes through fluctuations. You just transitioned to a plant-based lifestyle. How is that going for you? I am so happy for you. How is that going? How long has it been? You also have to think, hi, welcome in, welcome in. You also have to think about blue and purple foods. When you think of blue and purple foods, these are going to be your brain foods. This is going to be your brain health. This is also going to help you be able to keep yourself in longevity state. So overall, you have to think of this as your sustaining kind of foods. These are the foods that help your brain, they help your body, they sustain your organs. This is going to keep that longevity for your body in general because it fights anti-aging. It helps your brain cells. It supports your memory and your cognitive function. So these are the things that you need for you to be here and living and literally here consciously. A lot of people are sitting here just robots. A lot of people are here and they're not gaining the nutrients that they need. So then they're sitting here with all these mental health issues. So they're dealing with anxiety, they're dealing with depression, they're dealing with all of these different panic attacks and issues. And they're not realizing it's because they've literally eaten themselves into insanity because too many people are consuming but malnourished. People eat all day long. They eat all day long, but then they're gaining no nutrients. So all you're doing is filling your body with a bunch of crap that it has to digest, and it can't digest it, and you don't detox it. So what does it do? It stores inside of you. There are plenty of people walking around on this earth, but they are not alive. They're walking around. They have a spirit, but it's dead. And so we have to get away from that spiritually dead space because we eat a bunch of spiritually dead foods and start to eat things that are alive. When you're thinking about white and brown foods, this is going to be helping with your immune system. These are also going to be anti-inflammatory. These are going to be things that help you fight and build up your gut, as well as fight off bad bacteria in the gut and in the body. I do have an ingredients label reading book. It's $11. It's in my it's linked in my bio. You can get that obviously with Klarna Pharma Afterpay. Everything you can grab with Klarna Pharma Afterpay, but it's going to support you in understanding how to read your labels. And even if you're not plant-based right now, it shows you alternatives that are way better than majority of what society just picks and grabs because they recognize the label and they know, ooh, this is really, really good, right? Like, just because it's good and it has a label on it like a Fiber One bar and it says, oh, this gives you all your daily fiber, fake fiber is not absorbed inside the body, so it does not support you, and so all it does is store inside of your body as a toxin. So when we get away from the space of believing these labels and sitting here feeding ourselves, honestly, feeding ourselves these lies, we will finally start to heal ourselves as a whole and understand how to do that as a whole. But we have to break free from the S.A.D standard American diet. So you have to, now that you've understood how to, or you understand the power rather, you understand the power of a plant-based lifestyle. Now we have to talk about breaking free. We have to understand how to break free from these unhealthy habits that are putting you at risk and keeping you stuck in this space. So what are the steps that you need for you to be able to establish this lifestyle and transition to a plant-based lifestyle, transition to a rainbow plate, and stay in this space? You have to first start small. You can't just sit here and jump on it and be like, you know what? I'm going to cut everything out today. And even though I can't even do a diet for a week, I'm going to stop eating this and I'm going to cut out everything else. I'm no longer going to eat meat and dairy. That's not going to work for you. If you know that diets are hard for you, there is no way possible for you to just cut everything out and just start all cold turkey and make that big change like that. So small little steps are going to lead you to that bigger change. So you have to swap out little things like, okay, let's say for instance you start doing for 3 weeks out of the week, or 3 days, for 3 days out of the week, you're no longer going to eat meat, you're going to eat dairy. You're going to sit there for those 3 days, you're going to start making plant-based meals, plant-based recipes, maybe try it at dinner, do something like that. You're going to stop eating processed meals and processed foods, but instead try to find whole foods, replacements for your favorite snacks. Find things that don't poison you. And that's what I tell you in that $11 ebook, breaking down why you need to stop eating those processed foods, and then giving you replacements in between there of, okay, look at this label versus this label, read this, and then no, stay away from this. The second thing you have to do is increase your fiber intake. As a society, in America especially, we are not getting enough fiber. That's why I keep bringing up the Fiber One bars for an example, because people think that fake fiber is absorbed into the body, and it's not. It just sits there and it's not used. You need natural sources of fiber, which come from things like you eating green. Fiber is going to help you regulate your blood sugar because it slows down the sugar absorption process. So then you are not sitting there constantly overworking and expelling a bunch of sugar, but rather you have that balance and that stability. You also have to keep your sugar in a stable place. This goes hand in hand with the fiber because, like I said, if you're throwing off your sugar balance, you are going to have hormonal imbalances. You are going to be pre-diabetic or diabetic. So this is a key factor in your health. Fiber is a key factor. You can't skip it. You can't just sometimes supplement it in. You have to have it every day. This is how you go to the bathroom. This is how you balance yourself. This is a stabilizer. So I have people coming in here because I talk about stabilizers when I talk about blood sugar, and they're like, okay, but what is a stabilizer? This is your stabilizer. I just told you. So I don't want anybody in here asking me, what is a stabilizer? I just told you what a stabilizer is. And if you want to learn more about what stabilizers are, Eating Away Diabetes, understanding how A1C, your inflammatory issues, and also your diet culture is affecting you, and then breaking that down, giving you a full transformation rainbow plate breakdown of breaking down each and every fruit and vegetable that you can grab in a grocery store. Some might be foreign to others, but the point is it breaks down exactly the key nutrients that you get from each color of each fruit, each vegetable, each food. That link is in my bio. It's Eating Away Diabetes, and it's a cookbook, so it gives you recipes on top of literally a guide of how you eat away diabetes and understanding how to balance your blood sugar. So that was I think we were on the second point. The third point, you have to incorporate healthy fats. So if you are not eating enough healthy fats in your life, you are going to have issues like weight fluctuation, stubborn weight that you can't get rid of, because a lot of people sit there and they believe that like, oh, well, fats, they can be bad. That's the unhealthy fats. The healthy fats like avocados, nuts, seeds, these are going to help you regulate your hormones, because not only are they going to help you be full and to stay full, so that's a balancer, but it's also going to allow you to have more energy through that stabilization. So then you're going to have energy to work out. You're going to have energy and be full. So you're not going to be sitting here depending on snacks all day. You're not going to be sitting here drinking coffee that's full of sugar and things like that you don't need, because you're more likely to make better choices when you have stability and you have comfortability versus when you're hungry, you're tired, and all these other things going on, because then guess what happens? You emotionally eat. And that's another thing that I also break down in the Eating Away cookbook is literally emotional eating. And we have a self-reflection section in the emotional eating, because that is a big, huge factor for a lot of people, is not understanding emotionally eating and not really understanding how to break down why we emotionally eat and how that affects us when it comes to the foods that we consume and that we choose on a daily basis. Because a lot of people understand that emotional eating is bad, and when I'm feeling bad, I want to eat a pint of ice cream, or if I go through a breakup, I want to eat cookies and cake and all this different stuff. But you don't realize that when you come home from work and your first thought is, I want a snack, I want sweets, and I want to eat a good big meal, that's emotionally eating, because you're tying the stress of the day onto the foods that you eat to decompress at the end of the day. And so that's something that we have to break down in that book. And that's something that's a part of you eating away your diabetes, because that's a part of healing, getting rid of that emotional state that you have, that tie to eating, because it's literally a dopamine response. And that's okay that you have that response, but you've been programmed into that. So now it's time to reparent those habits so that you get away from that space. The fourth thing that we have to address in this transformation is you drinking more water. You have to have water. You have to hydrate. I don't care if you don't like water. Your body needs hydration. You have to have hydration on a cellular level. So when you're looking at that and you're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I get hydration on a cellular level? fruits. Drinking water is not going to get you deep enough to a cellular level. That's the reason why so many people are taking Celtic salt, because they know that they're not getting hydration on a cellular level. A lot of people are flushing and they're not hydrating. But when you sit here and you consume actual natural water from fruits, this is how you get hydration on a cellular level, that you don't have to sprinkle salt inside of your water. Fruits are there for a reason. Yes, you should be drinking water, filtered water that supports your body. You should be drinking water that isn't just from the tap or just from a regular filter. You should be getting, honestly and truly, my preference in my comfortability zone is me getting a charcoal filter, because charcoal filters not only add nutrients back in, but it removes all the toxins from it as well. And so when you are consuming water, it needs to be the good kind of water, spring water. It doesn't need to be tap water. It doesn't need to be a basic little filter. It needs to be something heavy duty. But eating your water is essential during the time of you taking care of your body, because you can't flush just by drinking water, because a lot of people are not realizing this. This is the reason why people who drink a whole bunch of water sit there and talk about how they go back and forth to the bathroom. It can't be in a plastic either. It needs to be in glass. People talk about all the time, when I drink a lot of water, I go back and forth to the bathroom. The reason why you're going back and forth to the bathroom is because you're not getting hydrated on a cellular level. That's the reason why. Instead, your body is flushing, which is good, but it's flushing on a surface level, not on a deep level. And so now at this point, you either have an overload of something that it's really trying to compensate and flush out, or it has nothing else to do. So all it's doing is just going through your system. It's not getting you hydrated. In order for you to get that hydration, you need the combination of both. You can't just do, oh, I'm just going to drink water and I'm just going to hope that this works. You can't do that. That's not going to work for you. Number 5, plan out what you eat. You have to prepare for those times where you don't want to cook. You have to prepare for those times where you know that you have to go somewhere and you're not going to be around vegans. You have to prepare yourself when you're going to be reunions, trips, things like that. Preparing meals are going to support you. Having freezer meals, so if you make something from scratch and you know it can stabilize in the freezer and be fine, put it in the freezer. Make sure you wrap it up with parchment paper. You can even put it in a plastic bag. People sit there and they freak out over plastic, but if your food is not touching the plastic, you're fine. I'm gonna say that you're fine. So I like those little frozen patties that I used to get from Kroger, right? I wrap those up in parchment paper completely, and then I stick it in a plastic bag. I put it in my freezer. It doesn't take time for me to heat up a burger, and on top of that, it's not taking up a bunch of space. So guess what? I can have, because at one point I did have it, I had 2 things of like 20 plus burgers inside of a plastic bag with the parchment paper wrapping around it inside my freezer. I'm still going through the burgers to this day. You don't have to make this difficult. You don't have to make this a hard process. Support yourself. So if you are a busy person, if you have kids, if you know that you're not going to be prepared for those days when you're tired and you're hungry, have something in preparation that's not going to make you sit here and be like, oh, I have to cook this, I have to do this, and I really don't feel like doing it. And then boom, now you're sitting there going to McDonald's. You have to understand that during this process, if you're making it difficult, you're not going to want to stick with it. If you're making yourself uncomfortable outside of just the change itself, but actually making yourself uncomfortable because you're not supporting yourself, it's not going to work for you. This is the reason why when you look at statistics of how many people go vegan and they stay vegan, usually they drop off between the 8 to the year mark, 8 months between a year. Because you know why? They've done that whole like, okay, I've been doing this, I've been doing good. You can stick with it for a while and it feels good. But then they get to that hard rock place. They get to that point where it's like, okay, well, I'm tired. It's winter time. I don't feel like cooking. There's not that many fruits on the shelf anymore. All my favorite fruits are out of season. And then they sit there and they're like, what am I supposed to eat? And then they sit there and think that, well, this is too difficult because I don't even know what to eat. And then guess what? They go back to their old habits. It doesn't have to be that difficult. You can simplify the process. And if you don't know how to make plant-based meals, like I said, I have 2 cookbooks. I have a beginner guide cookbook as well as I have that Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook. They're both beginner-friendly recipes, but the Eating Away Diabetes Cookbook is literally showing you how to eat away diabetes. That's the only difference between the books. And then also you have to realize that during that time, when you help prepare yourself in advance, this is going to save you from reaching processed snacks, processed foods as something for you to, well, I'm just going to eat this really quickly. I know a lot of y'all do this because I do this too, but I snack on like fruits and vegetables. How many people in here cook and snack at the same time? Because I can tell you I do it, but when I'm cooking, I have fruits and vegetables all around me. So when I'm prepping meals, when I'm doing things like that, I sit here and I'm grabbing for fruits and vegetables. But y'all have chips, y'all have cookies, y'all got cakes, y'all got all these different things around you. So as you're cooking, you're grabbing crap. That's what I mean by preparation. Because when you're around a bunch of crap, not saying that you have to throw it all away in the beginning, because you're going to freak yourself out doing that. But when you have a bunch of crap around you, all you're going to do is sit here and consume a bunch of crap later on. Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate it. So meal prepping things, like if you know that you're going out, things that can sit out and you don't have to worry about it, because y'all have to worry about y'all's food sitting out because y'all have meat and dairy inside of them. But when you're eating things like quinoa, when you're eating things like chickpeas, when you're even eating salads or roasted potatoes, avocado can't sit out, but when you're eating things like that, like roasted chickpeas, when you're eating things like quinoa, these can sit in an airtight container on a shelf in your bag, and you don't have to worry about them going bad. They can sit there for an hour or 2 or 8, because honestly they can sit through a whole road trip, because I've taken them on road trips. I have friends that are plant-based that take food like this on road trips. You prepare yourself. So if you're going on a road trip, for example, don't sit there and say, well, I hope that they have something for me to eat, or I guess I'm just going to be eating French fries the whole time. Why didn't you pack you something to eat in your bag? So if you do go out and, oh, they have something for you, you can eat that and you can keep your food at home, but you also have an option of food. This is how you be prepared. Because if you're out and about and you have no food, you weren't prepared. If you weren't looking at the menu beforehand to make sure they have something to support you, you weren't prepared. And if you need help in getting in that space of understanding more into the lifestyle, sustaining the lifestyle, cooking these plant-based meals, making non-toxic products, understanding how to make literal, actual, non-toxic medicine, natural medicine, I have a program that is going to support you, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But before we talk about all of that, I want us to understand that you are not alone in this process, first of all. You can start making a change. It's been 4.5 years for me. It's gonna be plus that. It's gonna be probably over 50 something the rest of my life, because I'm not going back to eating all the crap that I was eating before. So before I sit here and introduce the program, I want to say that now is the time for you to throw out any questions that you have. What questions do you guys have for me while I talk about what is the program? So I have a Bloom and Thrive program. This program is going to help you be able to not only, like I said, make your own plant-based meals, make your own non-toxic products, so your laundry detergent, your cleaning household products, be able to make your own natural medicine, be able to make your own natural products for your body wash, your toothpaste, your mouthwash, your shampoo, things like that, because you should be able to make these at home, even if you don't want to necessarily, because there are brands that you can buy that they can be expensive when you're getting up there, because they're not going to give you as much quality as you would making it yourself. But understanding how to do this for yourself and then sustaining the lifestyle like I have done for 4 years, releasing all those stumbling blocks that you're going to have in the beginning, you can tap into that program. It is linked in my bio. It's called Bloom and Thrive. Like I said, that you can get everything with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. It is an investment. That is not something that you're just going to decide to emotionally get into. That is something for the people that are ready for a change, understand they need healing, and they're ready for support and healing and knowing how to support themselves. During that time of that program, we are going to have one-on-ones. So that is your literal personal Zoom call with me, that we talk about what's going on with you, your health, etc., making strategies and plans. We also have workshops during that time. So everybody that's in the program with you, during that time, we will have workshops. So that's when we're going to make our own non-toxic products. So our soap, our mouthwash, our toothpaste, things like that. We'll have that in our workshop day. What else? We also have an app. So if you have any questions that immediate need, that we don't have a one-on-one, or you would just have like a, hey, I don't know if I can use this, you will have direct access to me, because during that program, this is literally your tailored guide into living plant-based. So at the end of that 12 weeks, you're not going to be questioning anything, but rather you're going to be sitting there like, oh my goodness, I can do this for the rest of my life, because I understand why and how, and my body has changed so much over these 12 weeks. If you have not seen my transformation video, it is pinned on my TikTok. Go look at it. You can see how my life has changed. Literally look at the neck. If you look at my necklace in the first couple of pictures, you see how everything has changed for me. You don't even have to look and be like, well, she's not super skinny, so I don't know if this is going to work. Look at how my necklace changed. That was 200 plus pound me to me now. I don't know what I weigh, but I think the lowest I was like 160 something, so I'm just going to stay there. I don't know where I'm at. The scale is somewhere outside. I haven't looked in a minute, honestly, truly. What questions do you guys have for me? Do you have a book to show us like healthy foods, like different kind of nuts to eat? I have cookbooks. I don't. I'm gonna need more from that question. What do you mean, Jerome? I have plant-based cookbooks, if that's what you mean. I really don't. I'm not sure what you mean. Alopecia tips. Your hair is directly, thank you for the follow, by the way. So your hair is directly connected to your health. So if you're having issues with alopecia and issues with hair loss, thinness in general, that means you're not gaining nutrients that you need. So one of the things that you could be lacking, and majority of people are lacking / struggling with, is iron. So that's something that you need to look at and make sure that your iron health is where it needs to be, as well as your hormonal health, because like I said, like it's directly connected to your health. So if you're having issues with your hair, whether it's thinness, loss, or anything like that, we need to look at our iron intake and see what balance we have there, as well as magnesium too, because these are two things that go hand in hand. And then we also need to look at our hormones. Are we balanced with our hormones? Are we healthy? Because if you're not, then eating one specific food is not going to help you, but rather we need to focus in on, okay, what have I been eating that is not been giving me nutrients? Because obviously if you're lacking iron, you're not getting nutrients. And I was iron deficient before I went plant-based. I was borderline iron deficient. Let me say that, because my doctor had told me, we're watching your iron because you're borderline anemic, borderline iron deficient. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I'm sitting there like, well, what do I do about this? I'm 16, 17 years old when she told me this, right? So I'm sitting there like, okay, what do I do about this? I sit there until I'm 21, still iron deficient, or a borderline iron deficient. And I'm like, okay, well, why am I borderline? Like, I tried different things with eating foods and I tried all these different things. It wasn't until I literally went plant-based that now I go to the doctor, I go to the dentist, I go to all these care professionals, and nobody says anything to me. They're literally like, oh, your health is great. What questions do you have? And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm fine. Like, they're like, yeah. Before, every time I went to the doctor, there was something. Every time I went to the dentist, there was something. And I have good teeth. I don't even get that many cavities. But they were always like, oh, let's watch this. I don't know. You're not flossing good enough or whatever else. I went plant-based, and I'm literally sitting there at the doctor. They're looking at me. I'm looking at them. And I'm like, okay, so I'm good? They're like, yeah, you're fine. Like, what questions do you have? And I'm like, I'm not in pain. I don't have any issues. Like, they're asking me about old issues that I had. How are your knees? How are your hip? How's your menstrual cycle? I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. Like, I'm like, I have no more issues with any of that. And they're like, wow, okay. That's it. I'm in and out 30 minutes. Like, the dentist loves me. I'm the shortest patient that they have. Every single time I go to the dentist, they're like, it didn't take me long to clean your teeth at all. I'm like, I know. I go to the dentist. It didn't take me long to do your checkup at all. I know. Like, literally, I'm telling you, like, they compliment. And I have not told the dentist that I went plant-based. I told my doctor, but I didn't tell the dentist that I told the dentist I went plant-based. I didn't tell them that I stopped using all of their products of fluoride and chemicals and things like that. I didn't tell them anything. I just let them observe my teeth, do my examination. And then at the end, they're complimenting me. They're telling me X, Y, and Z. Oh, this is great. Your oral health is great. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay. They're lying to y'all. And how I know is I don't even have to tell them that I've changed. They just think that I'm up on the oral care of what they're telling me to do. But when I was doing what they were telling me to do, my teeth were in the worst shape that they were ever. So this is what I mean when I say you have to release that programming, and you have to start to reparent your habits, to realize that it hasn't been working for you for 20 plus years. Why do you think it's going to work for you in your 50s? Why do you think it's going to work for you in your 60s? If it's been showing you that you're leading yourself down a path of being unhealthy, developing diseases, having a bunch of illnesses, why do you keep doing it? I don't take a flu shot. I don't have to worry about pneumonia. I don't have to worry about me getting what happened in 2020. And you know why? Because illness can only thrive in a space that it has something to feed off of. So what are you feeding it? What other questions do you have for me, guys? What are you feeding it? Like, that's a question for you to answer. If you want to answer it in the chat, that'd be great. But what are you feeding it? If illness can only thrive in a space that it has something to feed off of, what are you feeding it? Because I know right now people are complaining about having flu and pneumonia. So what are you feeding it? Because when you're sick in the time where you're supposed to be sitting here taking care of yourself and you're thinking you need chicken noodle soup, or you're now sitting there all of a sudden fasting because you're like, well, I'm just not hungry, I can't keep anything down. What did I do? I'm plant-based. That's what I did. I stopped eating meat. I stopped eating dairy. I stopped consuming all these terrible processed snacks, but instead actually started to find, if I want a craving of something sugary that's sweet, I find alternatives that have natural sugar in them versus all the terrible processed sugar. That's what I did. I replaced all the terrible toxic products in my home that I stopped using and now only use natural cleaning products. That's what I did. I ain't get none of that. None of that. I ain't never had a flu shot in my life. I ain't never did that. When I tell you they were talking about that, and how I know society does not have enough discernment, because 2020 told everything. 2020 exposed a lot of people of how they lack security and discernment when it comes to the Most High himself. Because during that time, everybody freaked out. They listened to the people on the news and the internet and did nothing to sit back and go, well, how come everybody's telling a different story, and how they flip everything in 2 seconds, how 1 minute you can do this and you can clean this and it should be fine, and the next minute none of that's working, and then now all of a sudden they're telling you that everybody's unaliving, and then they flip it back in a month later and they're like, here you go, here's a hokey pokey that nobody has tested. Here you go, you can have this. And then when they're sitting there telling you that this is harming you and it's not helping, and then they turn around and say, here's a revamped version, here you go, take this one. That's what they said. And then like, you want to be outside? Take this one. You want to keep your job? Take this one. This is what I mean by nobody has any discerning thoughts, because y'all didn't question anything about that. Y'all's job started firing you. You didn't question anything about that. And even when because I worked with kids, I was in a place where they had sent me that little email to let me know, hey, either you get this or you're going to lose your job. And I said, religious exemption, because the Most High didn't tell me to go get that. You told me to go get that. You know what he told me to do? Wait and listen. During that time where everybody else was panicking, nobody wanted to be in the house, he told me, sit down, do what you need to do, take care of your health, and listen. And I did that, and I'm the healthiest I've ever been. 4.5 years of me eating plant-based, because I took that time. I listened to discernment. I actually listened to the Most High and what he wanted me to do. I didn't listen to these officials who've been poisoning me all my life. I didn't listen to the people who sit here and put your children in a program of going to school, consuming meat and dairy as a requirement, of them providing a lunch for you, and then them turning around and now here they are trying to expel red dyes in your food and telling you that they literally put chemicals inside of your children's food, because they even talked about it. How can they give your children full of meat full of chemicals and all this processed food on their plates, and then they add dye in it, and the only thing they're tackling is the dye. So this is what I mean by we have to literally release that programming. Be your own parent. You're an adult now at this point. You're an adult. So your life decisions and your choices are dependent on what you believe. It's no longer, well, I can't do anything because my mom said that I can't. No, you're an adult. So if you're not doing what you need to do, if you're not on your P's and Q's, that's your fault. If you're sitting here taking this message and you're just holding and harboring it onto it, why are you here? Like, that's really, truthfully, honestly, if you are sitting here and you're taking this message and you're not doing anything with it, have no plan, you hadn't set out anything for you to be able to change, why are we here right now? I'm not here for yes men, yes sirs, and all these. Like, I'm not here for that. What I'm here for is for the people that are ready for a change. They're looking for solutions, and the Most High has guided me to that solution. And you know that you're being called as well to find something different for your health, because you're not healing. And your body is a healing vessel. That's the reason why he made you this way. There's a reason why we are made to naturally heal. And if you don't believe that you can naturally heal, why can your body heal from a broken bone, but you don't believe that you can heal from diabetes? Why can your body heal a broken bone, but you don't believe that you can balance your hormones naturally without birth control? Why do you believe you can literally break your jawbone, and you don't think that you can heal from cancer without having some type of radiation or chemo, without having to have some kind of surgery? What other questions do you guys have for me? I'm going to leave you with that. What other questions do you have for me? Let me know in the chat what questions do you guys have for me. Because it's insanity that we don't question, but we have all the opinion in the world to spit out when somebody brings up the fact that they don't eat meat, they don't eat dairy, because you love to bring up, well, how do you get protein? You're malnourished with what you eat now, and you're worried about what I get and how do I get my protein. I literally just said it. What did I just say? I literally just said it, and somebody came in here and asked the question. That's my point. How do you get your vitamin A and C and D? How do you get your B12? How do you get this? How do you get this? I broke it down in the whole live. How are you getting your healthy fats? Because meat isn't a healthy fat. It's a very unhealthy fat. How are you getting your healthy proteins? Because meat is a very unhealthy protein. This is what I mean by y'all love to become nutritionists when somebody brings up the fact that they do and live a different lifestyle, a healthier lifestyle than you, because you're not healthy, because you know you're not healthy, and you want to question everything that they're doing. But you don't question when your doctor puts you on a medication. You don't question what McDonald's puts on your plate. You don't question what Red Robin's puts on your plate. You don't question anything about the food that you consume, but you're worried about your protein? Actually, that's false. If you look biblically, people weren't eating meat the way that we eat meat nowadays. So if you're going to troll, please get out of here, because I promise you, you will not win this, because this isn't an argument. These are facts. You're not looking at scripture well enough, ma'am, or sir, whoever you are. Because if you know how to read scripture like you should be, and if you don't believe in the Most High, then I'm not for you. But if you read scripturally, only time that they were actually eating meat was during a time of sacrifice. They weren't eating meat every single day like we do on a regular basis, as well as the fact that when they were eating meat, they weren't eating all these different animals that y'all love to try and to eat. They were only eating one specific animal that was literally sanctified by the Most High during sacrifice. Even during the time when Yahushua HaMashiach came to this earth and sanctified everything, and y'all quote unquote love to say this, where we can eat pig because Jesus is not his name, but Yahushua HaMashiach said that we can eat this now. That's not what he said. That's not what that was in. If you look at the whole entire, not just one passage, but you look at the whole entire aspect, that's not what they were saying. And I'm going to leave that for you to go study, as well as study the whole entire Bible of how they consume meat. So that's why I said you're not going to win whatever kind of spat you're trying to go back and forth. I don't go back and forth. I don't go back and forth. I don't argue. But good try. The lack of knowledge, but the spit of opinion does not work here. The lack of fact, but wanting to spit opinion, that's the problem. You're never going to be the solution when you're sitting here stuck in your ways. You're going to keep being the problem, and you're going to keep getting left behind. And I can guarantee you, if you have that mindset by 2030, you're going to be completely confused, and your wallet's going to be ran through. And you know why? Look at how eggs are nowadays. Y'all talk about how plant-based is so expensive. Look at how expensive y'all's food is. Plant-based foods have not changed the price. And you know why they haven't changed the price? Because they weren't even expensive. They're not expensive. You just don't know how to shop. You don't know how to cook. So what other questions do you guys have for me before I get off? Like I said, I didn't have to do a whole bunch of spitting for them to realize that they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You see how they didn't comment again? You see how they didn't comment again? I'm telling you, it's not difficult at all to really gain insight and knowledge. But when you have your opinion literally sitting there on your shoulder as like one of those little itty bitty devils that sit there and talk in your ear, and all it's saying to you over and over again is, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong. Then nobody's going to be able to help you because you're stubborn and stuck in your ways, nor does anybody want to help you. But when you're like, okay, but I just don't understand the aspect because we were allowed to eat it in the Bible. I'm not understanding the aspect of protein because I thought that this was healthy. I'll help you. There is no problem with helping you if you want to be helped. But when you want to argue, I'm not the one to argue. I just block. Especially with somebody who has no profile picture. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. So what other questions do you guys have for me before I hop off of here? Because like I said, there's a difference between asking for help and then wanting to argue. Opinion-based things are not going to help you. But you sitting back and realizing, okay, well, I have been unhealthy because that's why I'm here right now. That's the reason why she popped up on my FYP page, because I've been looking for healthy habits and healthy tips. That's the only reason why I popped up, because literally my content is healthy lifestyle. So when you look and you're like, oh, okay, I want to tap into this and learn about this, but you want to come in and argue your opinion, you don't want to learn. You don't want to learn. You know what you want to do? You want to take your book knowledge that they have programmed into you and throw it in everybody's face. That's what you want to do. You want to take that book knowledge and you want to throw it in everybody's face because you're so smart and you have all of this information, but you don't share any actual information that helps people heal. You're just sharing the same programming that has kept everybody in captivity. You know what that looks like in the Bible? Because we've seen it multiple times, of the people that keep sharing false information to keep people into captivity. So if we want to quote the Bible, we can quote the Bible. Like, if we want to go scripture for scripture, we can do it. I went to private school all my life. So that's why I know what I'm talking about, because I've seen both sides of the side that they lie to us, which was the schooling, and then the side where I got out and I still wanted my relationship with the Most High and I wanted to understand deeper. So I started to dissect it myself, because me and the Most High talk to each other every single day, multiple times a day. And if I ask him about you, what is that going to say? Or what is he going to say? Because when I ask, I receive. Off topic, sorry. Oh, thank you. I think I've had this necklace since like high school, I want to say. I think my parents got it for me one celebration of something. It could have been a birthday, it could have been something else. I don't know what it was. My parents got it for me. I love it too. I do. This is my favorite necklace. I never take it off. I wish I had a gold version, but I do. I love this necklace. That's why I said, like, it used to be, if you look at my like transformation video, it used to fit up here. Nobody could ever see this necklace. And I was always wondering, I'm like, man, I'm like, people can't even really see my necklace. I'm like, I hate this chain. And at the time, because I've always thought myself beautiful. I never thought that I wasn't beautiful. I was sitting there thinking like, man, they can't see this necklace. This chain is too little. I just don't like it. And now here I am. And I'm like, if I would have got a bigger chain, like that thing would have been all the way down here and I would have been mad about it. It wasn't the fact that the chain was too little. My neck was really big, because I also was pretty big during the time. Cute as all get out, beautiful. Those pictures that you see me in that pink dress, I was at a wedding, super cute. But I wasn't healthy, and I knew I didn't feel healthy, and I didn't feel good, yet I was the most active I could have. Like, I was an active person. I've been an active person since I've been playing sports. I played sports all my life. I've never been lazy. I've always been active. But the habits that I was taught with diet culture never worked for me. So I'm sitting there thinking there's something wrong with me. I'm sitting there thinking like my body is off. There has to be something wrong, because I'm doing what they're telling me to do, yet it's not working. I'm not seeing the results that I should get unless I'm starving myself and I'm not eating. But here I am, plant-based, and the only way that I will either have weight fluctuation of gaining or losing is either if I sit here and literally eat myself to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm sick. Because once I eat, it should be like this. When you eat, you should feel full. You should be full, regardless if it's a snack or if it's actual food. So if you're not getting full, that means you're not getting nutrients. If I don't eat, usually I'm fasting. But let's say that I was like the old me, where I was like, you know what, I'm going to starve myself and I'm not going to eat all day long, and then I'm going to eat at the end of the day. That makes you overeat. That makes you binge eat. And then that's going to throw off your hormones and your blood sugar regulation as well, because more likely than not, you're not going to eat the best thing possible. This is how you also gain that weight fluctuation of gaining more weight. I don't have to worry about, oh my goodness, I'm not getting enough protein and I'm not getting enough vitamins and minerals. I'm going to lose all this weight. I lost the weight that I wanted to. I'm not sitting here like, ooh, super skinny mini and I can't hold the weight. I still have my healthy weight because I love me, okay? I don't want to be skinny. If I wanted to be skinny, I would be. And that's just simple as that. I'm slim, but if I wanted to be skinny, I would be. The only reason why people lose a whole bunch of weight when they go plant-based is because they're not getting the nutrients that they need. The only reason why people gain a bunch of weight is because they're eating a bunch of processed foods that they don't need to be eating, and they're stored up with toxins. So the people who come to me, and because I have a lot of people that come to me about gaining weight during that time, and that's understandable, because when you think about eating fruits and vegetables, you think about weight loss, you think about detoxing, but that's the kicker. You don't have to lose weight for you to eat plant-based. If you have excess weight, excess fat, your body's naturally going to shed it. But when your body needs more and you are trying to gain that more and you're skinny and you've been eating a bunch of crap, during that time, you can lose weight, which can be detrimental for some people who are already tiny. But when you add in simple things like chia seeds, flax seeds, you're adding in those big bulk of healthy fats, healthy proteins that have not only help you be full, but actually give you like a sustaining, lasting fullness. This is what your body is going to feed off of, and then you can gain weight. So this is why I said that, like, you have to know the process of what you need to do. This is why I encourage people that are new to book one-on-ones with me or get into my program, because you're not going to know all these things in the beginning. I didn't know all these things. It took me a whole year for me to really get it right. The first 3 months were complete trial and error. It was a mess. It was a mess. But between that first year, I gained way more insight than what I had. And now here I am 4.5 years, and I'm a master at this. Literally, it's at a mastery point at this point. I'm the freaking professor of being plant-based. Like, I can whip out any information that you need me to about plant-based. But it took time. And so during that time, instead of you having to research and do all of this, and you're also trying to figure out your lifestyle, you're also trying to figure out how to prep and to eat, make it simplified for yourself. So what other questions do you guys have for me? I went on a whole rant, I want to say, for at least like 15 minutes. I can't even lie to you. I went on a whole rant. What other questions do you guys have before I get off? And I do practice the Sabbath. So if any of you have any questions and I am off and it is nighttime, sundown Friday, sundown Saturday, I will be practicing the Sabbath. So I don't respond or be on social media much. At least this one, I have a personal one, but I might hop over here every now and then. Don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm just practicing my Sabbath. I will respond to you on Sunday. So what other questions do you guys have for me? The bottom of this glass has texture, and every single time I look through it, it throws me off. It makes me think something's at the bottom of my glass, and then I look, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just texture. Thank you guys for the 3.2K likes. I really appreciate it. I'm not seeing any questions, so I guess I've answered everything that you guys need. Like I said, my DMs are always open if you have any questions. If you're watching this later on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Be safe if you're out and about. Make good decisions. Don't just take this information and just run with it and keep it and hold it and harbor it, but take this information and share it. If you know anybody that can benefit from what I do, share it. You can get everything with Klarna Pharma Afterpay if you want to book a one-on-one and learn more. And if you are interested in the program, the one-on-one price will be taken from the program price, so it will be the difference. So you will get a little bonus off of that as well. You are so welcome. And I do have a little bundle that's happening right now. If you book a one-on-one with me for that one-on-one price, you do get a free ebook with that. And as well as I'm crafting grocery lists, but I'm only doing that for the first 5 people that book one-on-ones. That bundle does not last forever. I think it's going until the end of the month. Yeah, because I'm like, we're in mid-month when I started it, so it's going until the end of February. You know, this is the shortest month that we have, so get that while you can, so you can get that bundle. If you don't get it while the bundle is still available, I'm sorry, you're missing out, because I do have a free ebook that you are going to get with that bundle. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. You are so welcome from all this content. Thank you guys for all the likes, and I appreciate each and every one of you for your comments and your questions. Be safe. Have a good weekend.